Hello, I'm Allan Dodds Frank, talking tonight on behalf of the Overseas Press Club of America and the Society of Silurians, now known as the Silurians Press Club. Top was a member of both clubs for many, many years and an active member, and all our members cherished knowing him. So welcome tonight for this event, which I am going to produce a glass in his honor to call a celebration, not a memorial. Now, Seymour Topping, can you still hear me, everybody?
Yes, yes.
My screen suddenly went blank.
Everyone.
Seymour Topping was one of the greatest chroniclers of the last century, an extraordinary journalist, consummate gentleman, and a great companion. And if you were lucky enough to get to know Top, Audrey, and their family, as I did thanks to the Overseas Press Club and the Silurians, you soon realized that Top would, on request, graciously and lovingly recount his adventures. Any conversation with him was a masterclass in world affairs. He also was great about giving sage advice about how to handle delicate subjects, including how the OPC should manage its presence on the internet to minimize opportunities for hostile governments to snoop on overseas correspondents. Unlike almost everybody else his age 15 years ago, he already was digitally savvy. Top was not a showy name dropper, but he knew and had interviewed many of the most important world figures of the last 75 years. Even an ordinary conversation with him often was astonishing. I remember mentioning skiing. I think he was 91 at the time, and he said he had given it up last year. That blew my mind. And when I asked him why, he said it was only because he had been hit by a snowboarder on a slope in Colorado, and maybe it was time to give it up. As his daughter Robin said, when I had the honor of giving Top the Silurians Lifetime Achievement Award in 2013, he and his wife Audrey were always secret 25-year-olds. I never had the pleasure of working for him at the Times, but from what I have been able to discern during the 2 decades or so that I knew him, or the 5 decades during which I had read his astonishing reporting, throughout his life he was calm, considered, and collegial. And I mean, even in the face of hostile armies, dictators, and hot-tempered bosses. He was an ace in every sense, especially calculating at how to attack a challenging story. I still remember him telling me over lunch about how, as an Associated Press reporter, trying to land that exclusive interview with Mao, he had once naively planned to hide out in a Buddhist monastery in territory controlled by the nationalist Chinese and wait until it was overrun by communist forces. Then he was going to demand to be taken to see their commander, Mao. That scenario did not occur, but Top had many major scoops during that Chinese Civil War. He even talked about them at an OPC event with Roy Rowan, another legend who happened to be the only other reporter who had covered that conflict who was then still alive. Ever modest, Top saluted Rowan for beating him on a story by parachuting behind enemy lines, a stunt that even as a former Army cavalry officer, Top had not contemplated. He did, however, ride horses behind enemy lines, a skill he learned in the ROTC Army Cavalry while training at the University of Missouri, where he also took up polo. Now, Top, I've got my pages mixed up now. Top never missed telling a story about Audrey. He loved her so much. And one of his favorite stories, which I loved hearing, I asked him to tell it to me many times, was about their time in Moscow. And they were at a diplomatic reception during the height of the Cold War with Khrushchev there. And Audrey, all of a sudden, Top looks around, and all of a sudden, he looks around, and there is Audrey whipping a Leica out of her purse and putting it in Mr. Khrushchev's face to take the exclusive pictures. The security guys, I guess from the KGB, went nuts. And Khrushchev waved them off. And she got the pictures for the interview that Top then got for the Times, which of course was a world exclusive. And I realize now that I never asked Audrey or Top whether Audrey had ever told him about the Leica in her purse when they went to the reception. To me, they were, and this is a cliche, but for them it never tires, they were the Astaire and Rogers of the news business. Right down to, as Top would tell you, the line about Ginger Rogers, that she did everything Fred did except backward and high heels. So I salute Audrey too, and the wonderful life they had together. Thank you.
Thank you, Allan.